There's some legislation moving through Columbus that many may not be aware of. Senate Bill 178, which could minimize the authority of the State Board of Education. The Cleveland Plain Dealer says the Ohio Department of Education would be run by an official who's appointed by the governor. So most of the decisions made by the Ohio State Board of Education would instead be made by this appointed official. In their story, the Plain Dealer says the board is ideologically divided and spends hours arguing over resolutions that don't directly affect students' achievement. But newly elected State Board Education member Teresa Fedor has concerns about this legislation since she served in the state Senate for years before retiring and now winning her current position. Our Kaylee Kirby explains why Fedor doesn't think Northwest Ohio voters are being best served after having already just voiced their opinions this past November.
In a sense, we now have gerrymandered what I call power grabs.
Senate Bill 178, which just passed in the state Senate, would gut the position Fedor was just elected to and give the board's power back to the governor's office. And Fedor says Republicans are in a rush to get it through by the end of December.
Even though it's been in the legislature, there hasn't been any sponsor testimony this session. So that certainly didn't give it a sign that it was done very seriously throughout this whole session. And now all of a sudden, it rose to the top.
Back in November, she says Democrats took control of that board. They'll be able to make calls about how kids are taught in Ohio schools. Now, Fedor says her position is in limbo.
I represent 7 counties, 6 full counties and part of another county. And so what they expected me to do and provide for them isn't going to be there. So as a matter of fact, this is unfair.
The current legislative session officially ends on December 31st. Fedor says it might be enough time for Republicans to finalize Senate Bill 178. Reporting in Toledo, Kaylee Kirby, WTOL 11.
Now, the Plain Dealer went on to say a state school board would still exist if Senate Bill 178 is signed into law, but the board would have a different set of responsibilities. Currently, the bill still needs to pass through the state house before Governor DeWine would sign it into law.